breaking down the 2026 NBA playoffs. We've got game results, league-wide stats, and some predictions.
Yeah, guys, I think we're just going to keep it simple, really. I think in the first round of the NBA playoffs, you get a lot of matchups where they're not as entertaining as others. I think we're going to talk about some of those matchups where we have some of the series is going 6 or 7 games. So also, we're going to go straight into predictions and look at matchups and team performance, individual players as well.
Yeah, and the numbers are already kind of telling a pretty clear story about who's real and who's not. So I'm excited to talk about this.
Sure. All right, so I guess we're going to go into some scoring leaders. Now, starting off with the leading scorer for the playoffs right now, we're looking at Cade Cunningham for the Pistons. I mean, he's averaging 39 points a game. Do you expect anything else from him though?
Cade and them. I think right now it's just Cade. I think one thing Detroit's going to have to do for me is they're going to have to show their supporting cast. I think they had Jalen Duren, who was an All Star this year. He was quiet in Game One. So was Duncan Robinson and a lot of their bench, which they did have struggles with in the beginning of the season. A lot of those guys are going to have to step up in Game Two, and they have a scrappy Orlando Magic team that can get after them. Obviously, I think this Magic team is deeper than the Pistons team, but I think the Pistons team is better than the Magic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I really like Cade Cunningham. I think this guy was a notoriously known MVP candidate before he had the injury at the end of the season. But he's shown right now that he's the man, he's the guy, and that 39 points per game that really tells it all right there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Cade, it's just obvious to tell that if he's not on the court, they're struggling. He's the anchor of the team, and yeah, Magic, they're too scrappy, like you said. They're way faster pace. It feels like, and once Cade's not on the floor, it just seems like it's just all bad.
Yeah, I agree. Next, we got Victor Wembanyama with 35 points a game so far. Now, we saw last night Victor Wembanyama is out for at least a little bit with a concussion protocol. He kind of slammed his head off the court going for looked like a loose ball. That's probably definitely going to affect the Spurs. Truthfully, I mean, I think they ended up coming out with the win of that game. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it's really just Victor Wembanyama out
You
there.
ever seen a guy dribble his head off the floor? I mean, I've seen it happen with basketball, but yeah, no, the Spurs are in an interesting spot because the series is tied 1-1. Portland had a great win last night, led by Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson, the second overall pick in Wemby's class. But you know, things get interesting now. I really think so. I think in the beginning I had Spurs in five, maybe four. I had them in five with the gentleman's sweep, but now with the Wimby injury, we don't know when he's going to come back, and we don't know how the Spurs team operates without him. So I think it's an interesting series. I still have the Spurs winning, but I may stretch it out to 6 games.
Now, yeah, I honestly think it could go to 7 games because you could see that Trailblazers, they're trying everything, all different players to see how they could stop Wemby. They're trying small ball, try to get under him with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday, whenever he was guarding him, he was quiet on offense. Once Wemby gets out, Drew Holiday starts rolling. I think that's going to open opportunities for a lot more players for the Trailblazers, and I think the Trailblazers will win the series.
Really?
Bold
You
prediction.
think the
Yep.
Trailblazers? Okay.
Yep.
All right. I like that. I think the Spurs might still have it, but I would like to see the Trailblazers win, especially coming in later in the rounds. Um, Next we got Donovan Mitchell averaging 31 points a game for the Cavs. I mean, he's doing what you expect him to do. He's going out there, he's playing his game.
It was really interesting to see how that dynamic was going to work with James Harden as
Mm-hmm.
well, the guy they traded at the deadline. But it seems like, you know, the sentiment that I've gotten from basically all the National League voices is that this is a big year for Donovan Mitchell because he's a guy who has never gotten out the second round. He's obviously the guy in Cleveland. He was the guy in Utah, but he was a little bit younger. I think now he's established and, making the trade for Harden. It sounds like this was Donovan Mitchell's move. He wanted Garland out. He wanted a more experienced scorer. We know about Harden in the playoffs. He can be a little sketchy at times, but this is a good Cleveland Cavalier team with depth, especially at the front court position with Allen and Mobley. Then they got guys off the bench that can rotate in and out. And guys, with this Raptors series, I think they're a little ahead of schedule, and I think we should put the rest of the series on Tubi. I don't know. I just think it's a really unentertaining series.
Yeah, I think bringing in James Harden, you could be skeptical just because every team James Harden's been on, they say he's the problem. But I think this him being on Cleveland makes him a totally different player. He's not as selfish at all anymore, and he's still dropping 20 points, but he's getting over 6 assists almost every game. So I think it's a great fit for Harden.
And then we got finally Jamal Murray averaging 30 points a game for the Nuggets. Now, Jamal Murray, he has his moments where he just blacks out and absolutely tears up the floor. And it seems like he's been doing that so far. I mean, especially with Jokic out there doing the main facilitating. I mean, it's kind of what he does. It's kind of what you expect to see from him, really.
From a second option, of course.
Yes.
Because he's the Robin to Jokic's Batman, right?
Yeah, and Robin had a questionable shot taking decision last night. Down by 3, you got 10 seconds. Goes for the deepest 2-point midi you can take. I mean, I get it. Try to get a quick bucket, foul. But if you're going to get a quick bucket, take it to the rim. Try to get fouled. At least get some points. I don't know. He did great that game, and up until then, he just needs to work on his decision making. I don't think the Nuggets are as serious contenders as people think they are.
He's really channeling his inner Kevin Garnett there. That's where I will not take a 3. I'll take a step in. Now, let's get into some playmaking stats. We'll go with their top 3 assist leaders for the playoffs so far. Number 1, we have LeBron James averaging 13 assists a game. I mean, what do you expect? He's been doing this forever. He always runs the most offenses that he's in. He's going to facilitate, and he's got plenty of scorers around him that, can go off at any time, it seems like.
Yeah, big surprise to me, honestly. This might not be a surprise to others, but 13 assists per game without Luka. You would think
Reeves
that,
as well.
and Reeves, you would think that he's like, I'm not passing. I can do this myself. I'm the GOAT. But no, he has trust. He's not forcing things. He's very smart. And I think that the Lakers can make a deep run.
I agree with what you said. I think he put on the number 1 cap as well, something he hasn't done in a long time, especially since Luka Doncic has arrived in LA. But, with those 2 guys out, now they're up 2-0 on the Rockets. I don't think we saw that coming. I think we might have saw maybe LA getting 1, like maybe getting game 1. I know they had a great performance from Kennard, which, by the way, if I'd have told y'all that Luke Kennard is going to be the leading scorer in a playoff series for the Lakers in the middle of the year once they traded for him, I think you guys wanted to get another podcast guy, and you wanted to kick me out and get somebody else in here.
For sure.
But no, you're exactly right, Landry. His playmaking, really, I mean, just his movement on the court looks so much different. He looks like he could play another 7 years in the league if he wanted to, just because of how he's able to move and how he's taken over games, and knowing that he's the number 1 option. He has filled that role just really well, and he's one of the main reasons why the Lakers are up 2-0 heading to Houston.
Now, after that, we've got Drew Holiday for the Blazers, averaging 11 assists a game. Now, did anybody really expect that? I mean, his next best scorer was Scoot Henderson, who had a big game last night.
I honestly expected the assist because they got so much young talent around them. And, like I was saying earlier with Drew, now he doesn't have to focus the whole time on Wemby, so he's not as tired. So I think more playmaking is just going to keep coming for Drew.
Drew Holiday's 35 years old, guys. Seems like he's been in the league for a long time.
Yes,
but he was a key in 2021 when the Bucks won a championship, and for whatever reason Giannis wanted him out, and Holiday's just shown his valuable ability to be on the floor. He has got to be on the floor during certain times, and I think now with the Blazers, I think they have some momentum going back home to Portland. And he's one of the main drivers of this team. You mentioned Scoot. I think Denny Avdia has, since the play-in tournament, has been one of their key scorers. And then, obviously they got guys like Klingon and Robert Williams down low. This is a really interesting team. And like I said in the beginning, and I agree with Landry, I think this is going to be a tough series now for the Spurs, not only trying to get Wemby back, but trying to operate without him. And I think a guy like Drew Holiday can be disruptive for the young ball handlers like Castle and Vassell and even Fox, who hasn't been in a lot of playoff series. He's only been in one, leading into this year. One was with the Kings, but Holiday, besides his playmaking, which he's averaging 10 assists a game, he's also just bringing that experience and bringing that game wrecking ability.
I agree. And then next up is Nikola Jokic, 9.5 assists a game. I mean, this is what he's been doing. He always damn near averages a triple double wherever he goes. So,
Yeah, I don't
you
think
know,
we have to stay very long
no,
on
I mean,
Jokic. We know if he's not scoring, he's passing and he's making plays no matter what.
it's just kind of what he does.
Goes without saying. I mean, he's right now. He's looks like he's on his way to average a triple double in the playoffs. Or he did in the regular season. But he's once again he's the main driver for the Nuggets. And as long as they can get their supporting cast playing well, obviously I think they're going to have a long series with Minnesota. I think that was predicted at the very beginning. And then they're going to have a tough road if San Antonio or Portland beat each other out. Obviously, they're just going to be round by round. It's going to be some tough series for them.
And we can stay with him though. Talk about his rebounding
Oh
now.
yeah,
Like, because if he's not playmaking, I mean, if he's not scoring, he's passing. But if he's not passing, he's getting that ball no matter what.
oh yeah. I mean, he's gonna get it off the glass regardless, averaging 14 rebounds a game so far in the playoffs. Which what do you expect from him? He's been doing it his entire career almost. He's been doing it all season. I mean, it's just what he does. He's a triple double machine.
You got the pure 6'4" glass cleaner build of Josh Hart, who has been a guy who's really found a home in New York after bouncing around a couple teams. Started with LA, then went to Portland and then New Orleans. I think he's found his home, and 13 and a half rebounds for a guy who's 6'4". And by the way, he's got Karl Anthony Towns on his team as well, so he's out rebounding the big purr, and just really does a nice job of doing everything on the floor.
Yeah. Also their big 7-footer,
Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson,
Yeah,
the big diesel,
that's
whatever
right.
like big truck man.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. That just shows you his determination in the finals. I mean, in the playoffs, he wants it. He's gonna get it. And then we have Jason Tatum. Coming off of a crazy injury, just comes back like nothing ever happened. Honestly, I think he looks a little better, not scoring wise, but off the ball, getting the rebounds, getting the passes. He's averaging what, like total right now in the past 3 games, it's probably been over 20 points and assists from him averaging just points and assists, and that's nuts to me.
Yeah, they really couldn't do it without him. I mean, they were missing him all season. They did fine, but
Jalen Brown did step up,
yeah,
but it really shows how good this team can be when Jason's on the floor.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he's the anomaly. He's an RA machine, and I think obviously Jalen Brown had an MVP candidate season. He was great. The Celtics were great. I think that Joe Mazzulla's on his way to maybe win another Coach of the Year award, but I think it's pretty clear that this is Tatum's team. I think Jalen, and there was a little bit of questioning about, well, did Jalen Brown put on the I'm the number one guy hat, and then once Tatum came back, you think he's going to be able to give it back to him? Because I think on a team you got to have a legitimate one guy, and then you got to have, like we said earlier, the Batman, the Robin. I think Tatum's still the Batman of this team. Although Brown had a great year and he can score at 30 points a clip almost in the playoffs, I think that he's going to have to find a way to let Tatum hand the reins, because that's what won them the championship a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get into some defense here with Karl Anthony Towns averaging 2.5 blocks a game so far in the playoffs. I mean, he's always been somewhat of a defender, I would say. So it's not really too surprising to me that he's out there, rim protecting for his team. Now, I would expect to see a guy like Victor Wembanyama on this list, but we actually don't see him as one of the top 2 block leaders.
Yeah, no, you have a center and then you have a guard. Anthony Edwards at 2.5 a game. That's really impressive. And then when you go down to steals, you have Jalen Williams with 4 steals a game, just showing his ability to get active defensively. Especially when you have 2 prominent defenders like Hartenstein and Holmgren off the floor. But he got Harden at 3.5. There was a sentiment early in his career that he couldn't play defense. He's certainly shown that statistically with almost 4 steals a game.
Yeah. I mean, also talk about, of course you can't talk about defense without talking about the Thunder. Jalen Williams averaging 4 steals a game so far. I mean, what do you expect from this Thunder team? They've been doing it for the past 2 years. They've always been scrappy. They've always had, active hands. They're always getting steals.
Yeah, and we aren't talking about the All-Star Jalen Williams. We're talking about player off the bench that's got 4 steals averaging.
Second round pick, by the way.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I mean, it just shows that the Thunder is so deep, and their defense throughout their entire lineup is always going to be there. So it's kind of hard. You think second lineup's coming in, oh, okay, we're going to be able to chill out a little bit. No, they're still going to be in your face, and they're still going to have active hands and getting the ball.
Yep, and Harden on the steals list. I don't think Harden's ever been a leader in the playoffs in steals because we always saw him. He's just very lazy on defense. I think him on this team is just makes him a better player.
I agree. Now, let's get into some 3-point shooting so far with our 3-pointers a game. Now, they're all pretty even. All of them are all the top 3 guys are averaging about 5 threes a game. Luke Kennard actually at number 1, he had 27 points the other night. I mean, he was just absolutely raining it in from 3, which is what he does. He's always been a good 3-point shooter as far as he's been in the league.
One of the more underrated trades this year by the Lakers was made when they traded Gabe Vincent to Atlanta for Kennard because I think that immediately made them better. They obviously wanted to get better on the perimeter shooting. I'm sure they didn't predict that Luka and Reeves were going to be out for the postseason or at least in the first round. But Kennard knew his role, stepped up. I mean, he's been a career sub 45, 46% 3-point shooter from the field. He knows his role, and in game 1, you mentioned he had 5 threes. He really knew his role, and last night he had 3 as well. So, just knowing his role and really exceeding expectations for the Lakers team.
Yeah, and Reed Shepherd, him stepping up when KD was out was big for the Rockets. I know they didn't win, but without Reed stepping up, making those 5 threes in that first game, I don't think they would have any momentum going into any of their games if they can't get anyone going. We saw KD did great last night at the first half, and then he kind of
took 4 shots in the second half.
Yeah, and then so Reed, and Reed had to step up. So having a guy like Reed to step up, make that 3 when you need him is huge.
Now with the last one coming up is Victor Wembanyama, who's had 5 threes a game so far, not counting. He did go out last game, but first game he had 5 threes the first game. I mean, it just goes to show, you don't really see 7. You don't ever see a 7'4" guy doing what he does.
The defensive player of the year is shooting 5.
Defensive player of the year, can't forget that.
It's also 7'5".
7'5".
Also 7'5".
Taking the ball up sometimes.
Yes. And I mean, it makes the Spurs team really, really scary. I mean, for all the other teams in the league, because they don't really have anybody who can stop Wemby, truthfully, unless he stops himself. There's not really much you can do. All right, so we're going to get into some predictions now. Starting off, we're going to start with the Western Conference, the Suns and the Thunder.
I mean,
they Thunder 2 tonight.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I would say Thunder 4.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to need more than 4 games here.
I think it's going to be a clean sweep for the Thunder. They shouldn't have too much problems with the Suns. Now, we're going to get into the Nuggets and the Timberwolves right now. What do y'all think?
I initially said Nuggets in 7. I just think with the Denver-Minnesota series, I think that's what you're going to get. Very rarely, I think, and these 2 teams will battle each other out for the rest of, for 10 years at least, as long as Jokic is on the Nuggets and Anthony Edwards is on the Timberwolves. But I'm going to go ahead and say Nuggets in 7.
I'm going to take Timberwolves in 7 after what the fight that the dog and Anthony Edwards that I see and Jaden McDaniels, the comment, they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels, and he puts that on in the finals. He averages his most points this year than he ever has, and I think the Timberwolves won it more than the Nuggets. Nuggets don't seem like they Jokic, just like MVPs. You ask him, do you care if you win another? No, I already have this many. Anthony, he wants this, and I think the Timberwolves want it more for sure.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see, especially when you have the experience of the Nuggets. I mean, they've already been there, and the Timberwolves are still pretty young, but they have a lot of good pieces, and Anthony Edwards definitely has that dog in him. So I'm going to agree with you there. I think the Timberwolves might take it in 7. I mean, as long as Anthony Edwards still wants it and he's going to keep wanting it, I think they have a chance to take it in 7. Really, I do.
What about Lakers and Rockets? We were just talking about the game last night. Lakers up 2-0. What do we think?
I don't think it's looking good for the Rockets. I think people were scared that they were frauds going into the playoffs. I mean, what we saw with the Kevin Durant burner account and everything, he definitely didn't believe much in his team.
Yeah, they have a stacked roster. They're great, but I don't think, like we see with the Thunder, it's the chemistry that matters. The Spurs, the chemistry matters, and so that's what I think they're lacking.
I think the loss of Fred VanVleet hurt them in the beginning of the season, guys. Without VanVleet, they don't really have a true leader. I know we mentioned Shepard hitting the 3 ball, and but they need a ball handler. They got Amen Thompson, who's great. He's not a point guard. Durant, obviously he's older. He can still score at a high clip, but he can't be your point guard for your team. And I think they're just missing a leader right now. I initially said Rockets in 6. Now I might go Lakers in 6 now. I mean, I know I can't change my predictions, but I'm gonna stick with Rockets in 6. But if I had to change, it would be Lakers in 6.
Yeah, I really think that the Lakers probably will take it in about 5 games. I mean, it might be a solid gentleman's sweep. They might take the Rockets. Probably will take one. You expect them to take one, but I mean, man, the Lakers are just playing real good right now, and especially when and if Luka and Austin Reeves come back. I don't know if Austin Reeves will. I know Luka probably will, but I mean, I think the Lakers have too much. They play well together. I mean, they still have LeBron, who's going to be their leader, and he can do it all. I mean, he can facilitate if he has to. So it's tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Andy here and go Lakers in 6. I think Rockets will pull 2 out. I think KD will go on a hot streak. We know it's Kevin Durant. He's gonna have that, but I don't know. LeBron, he still wants it. It's nearing his end of his career. I think he's gonna try to make a statement towards the end of his career.
And finally, guys, the last matchup in the first round, a series that really got interesting last night, really in the first quarter due to the Wemby injury. But I'm going to have to go Spurs in 6 here. I know Landry, you already said that the Blazers are going to pull this one out in 7. I like that prediction. I just got to see what this Spurs team looks like in another game without Wemby. Can they function? Can they operate? Because if they can't, I might have to agree with you. Once again, if I can switch my predictions, I'd pick the Blazers to win this series.
Yeah, my prediction of Blazers in 7 is purely based off of when Wemby's coming back. Mm-hmm. Right in my head, them winning in 7, that would be he misses at least this next game and maybe one more. If he comes back after missing 1 game, then I think Spurs will pull it out. But if Wemby's gone for 2 games, I think the Trailblazers are too talented to let that slide.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with y'all here. I mean, I was mistaken earlier saying that the Spurs won last game. It's actually tied 1-1. I'll fix that here. But, from what I saw from the Trailblazers last night, I mean, they've got what it takes. And especially if Wemby doesn't come back in a game or 2, like you said, I mean, it's going to be really tough because, I mean, that group has not really won anything together without Wemby. I mean, they wouldn't be where they are today without Wemby. So, depending on if he comes back, I'll say Trailblazers in 7.
Switching gears, going coast to coast. Now let's go Celtics 76ers, guys. 76ers stole one in game 2, tying the series 1-1. But I think I would say Celtics in 5. I'd say gentleman's sweep. And I wouldn't be surprised, even after the loss in game 2, that the Celtics just win 3 straight here, get the 76ers in a gentleman's sweep in 5. But the health of Joel Embiid's still interesting to me because I know he had appendicitis and he had surgery, and he wasn't completely ruled out for the first round, but it's kind of a day-to-day thing with him. But if he comes back, it becomes interesting. Then I'd say Celtics in 6, but I'm going to stand by and say Celtics in 5.
I'm going to give the 76ers one more win, but yeah, I'm thinking Celtics and 6. I just feel like we said earlier, Jason Tatum back. Without Jason Tatum, they were still a playoff contender. So that's just adding him just does it for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with y'all here. I think the Celtics probably take it in about 5 or 6 games, especially with the fact that VJ Edgecombe left the game last night. I mean, he is definitely one of their better pieces, and the fact that Joel Embiid is still not fully healthy. You can only trust the process for so long. I mean, it's coming to a point, especially with the Celtics. I mean, Jason Tatum coming back, it's going to be pretty hard to overcome that.
Cavaliers, Raptors, Cleveland now leads the series 2-0. I'm going to go Cavs in 4.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I agree. Cavs in 4.
Raptors are a little ahead of schedule. Great season getting the 5 seed. I think that Emmanuel Quickly injury really hurts them, but they can build on this year. They still got Ingram, they still got Barnes, and the rest of those guys. I feel like they have to make like one move for like a Kawhi they had in 2019. They're gonna have to get a guy like that. Maybe Giannis. Maybe they could get him. I don't know, but they're gonna have to get an alpha leader.
I feel
without
like
a doubt, bona fide number 1.
Yeah, I feel like the Raptors have too many players that want to do it themselves. They're not really team players, it feels like. And if Raptors want any chance, Brandon Ingram has to shoot better than 2 for 13. I was watching that. I might have had some money on that. And let's just say he's banned.
Scoreless in the first half.
Yep.
He's no longer
Banned.
any parlays
He is
for Brandon
banned.
Ingram.
But yeah.
Been in the league a long time.
But yeah, we're all going clean sweep here.
I agree.
And then we got the Knicks versus the Hawks, and the Hawks snuck one with C.J. McCollum last night at
Big
MSG.
game.
He's the new villain.
Yeah.
I think he's the new Trae Young, and he got booed and a little blank you CJ, if you will. I think you can kind of guess what the word is there. I said blank, but and he was asked after the game, guys. He was asked if he likes being a villain. He said he's not a villain. He's got a wife and 2 kids, and he's out there just playing. But what a great story too. A guy who we thought was kind of maybe teetering towards the end of his career, maybe kind of taking that Chris Middleton player arc where he's just kind of around. But I believe he had 30 the other night. I believe he had 26 in game 1, and a guy who's, I think, their number 1 scorer, Jalen Johnson, has struggled a little bit in these first 2 games. I feel like he's got to get going. Maybe he can get going on his home floor.
Yeah, like you said, with Jalen Johnson not playing to his full potential like he did all season, I honestly think that the Hawks will pull this one out in 6, maybe 7. But I just, if CJ keeps playing like that and taking pressure off of Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, all those guys, Shea's cousin, Nickeil Alexander, they've just got so much talent, and I feel like that team wants to make each other better, and I feel like the Knicks are looking for those big momentum plays, those Jalen Brunson step backs. I feel like they need those to have momentum to get it going. So I think that the Hawks will be more consistent.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Knicks might take it in 7. I mean, they are the higher seeded team. That doesn't really mean much, but I mean, playing in Madison Square Garden, that's as a home court advantage is tough, especially with those fans. I mean, I think that Jalen Brunson might pull it out and just lead his team to a 7-game victory. Now, we won't talk about the second round, but this first round, I think the Knicks got it.
Yeah, Pistons Magic, Orlando, one of the teams, I think one of the few teams, I'm going to go ahead and say that they were the only team to snatch a game 1 victory as the road team. Yeah, that's true. Magic really in a tough spot. I think they ended the year probably on one of the more bad notes you could have. They lose to the Celtics G League squad, the Celtics were not caring about that game at all. And then they have to win 2 games in the play-in tournament. And, I see the Pistons winning. I know a lot of people don't believe in them. I particularly am not a fan of them. I think they got Cade Cunningham, and then that's about it. But I'll still go Pistons in 6 games.
I'm going to go Pistons in 5 games. I don't think the Pistons are going to let Magic win anymore. I think they're going to show them that they mean business. And because, Magic, they pulled that one out by a miracle from Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane drops, 30 points? That's not going to consistently happen. So I'm going to go, actually, Pistons in 6.
All right. I think I'm going to agree with you there. I mean, shout out Desmond Bane, man. I had him on fantasy this year. He was good. he was really good. But it's hard. The Pistons are just a better team, especially with Cade Cunningham. Magic just doesn't really have that star power. I mean, they got Jalen Brunson, but not Jalen
You ever
Brunson.
look
Paulo
at Desmond, you ever look
Brancaro.
at Desmond
Sorry.
Bane and think he's a T-Rex?
Yep,
He's got a
all the
really
time.
short wingspan.
Yeah,
He
all
can
the
fire
time.
the three though. That was a great,
Yeah.
great.
But
trade
yeah,
for
I'm
them.
gonna agree on that. I think I'm gonna go Pistons in 6 in this series.
Well, what about the big finals? I know we're in Oklahoma, so you guys know who I'm picking for the Western Conference.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go OKC. What do you guys think about West? Do you guys agree with OKC?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with OKC. I
Okay.
mean, their only true threats might be the Nuggets, maybe the Spurs if Wemby comes back, because we tend to be a little iffy with the Spurs. But other than that, I mean, there's not really much coming out. Now for
For the East, though?
I don't know, it's tough to say. I mean,
I don't think it's close.
really,
I don't think it's close. I think it's Celtics. I mean, they're finally, God forbid, barring another major injury to their two guys. I think that's what stopped them last year. Maybe unpopular opinion. Everybody's all hung up on the Pacers last year making the finals, but I think if Tatum is healthy and that Achilles injury doesn't happen, I think the Celtics end up making the finals instead of Indiana. And I think that we were kind of robbed of I say robbed. I mean, we got 7 games in the finals last year, but Boston and Oklahoma City would have been a great series as well, is what I'm trying to get at. And I agree with you in the West. I agree with pretty much all you guys. I'm going to go Thunder and Celtics in the finals.
I'm going to agree with you right there. That's what I thought coming into the start of the season. Not trying to brag. I should have put some money on that on some website, but I definitely knew that Thunder was going to be back, but I felt that it was either going to be the Pistons or Celtics, and the Pistons aren't showing me enough to believe in them for a 7-game series against the Thunder, and Boston is set for that, and I think that'd be a scary series for the Thunder.
I'm gonna agree with y'all. I think it's gonna be Thunder Celtics. Like you said with the Pistons, maybe, but I don't see them taking the Celtics in a 7-game series. I don't think they have the depth.
What do you guys think the outcome would be if it is Boston OKC?
Say Celtics and 7. Celtics and 7.
I'm gonna disagree. I think the Thunder take it in 6. I might just be a Thunder fan,
I'm
but
gonna go OKC in 7.
All right.
But I am very scared of.
It's a good
the
thing,
Celtics.
though. We said we're in Oklahoma here. We didn't need all 3 of us picking the Thunder to win it all, so that's good.
Yeah, somebody had to pick something
You know, that
different.
ESPN game day graphic where every analyst picks the team, that's a curse. So, if we had graphics in front of us, we avoided the curse for the Thunder. So that's great.
Let's hope. All right, well, that's our full breakdown with stats, matchups, and predictions.
Yeah, of course, we'll come back next round and review these predictions and results and see how many of them we got right. That should be fun.